Our scripture reading is that recorded in St. Mark's Gospel, reading from chapter 6, verse 35 to 40. I read. And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. But I said unto you, that ye also have seen me, and believe not. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. For I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will, which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. Thus ends the scripture reading.
Prof started the journey, and he completed the journey. He lived a fulfilled life. I will not outline what he did for the university and how he stood for university. Just want to tell the family that the passing on of Professor Kosonike Thomas is not only a loss to you, but to the entire university family. We will continue to pray for him so that he will have perfect rest in heaven, and we'll continue to pray for the family so that they'll have strength to move on. We know he was a pillar. Everywhere Prof went, everywhere he stood, he was a pillar of support to those around him. So on behalf of the university, we want to say, please take heart, and we'll definitely meet Prof in the next life. Thank you.
My few words of consolation, I just want to say how deep a relationship Professor Kosonike Thomas had. And I recall only two instances. The first instance was my first year in college. And I had a teacher from the Principal School, one of our science teachers. And he saw me and said, why am I not seeing you in class? So I said, please, I've changed. He said, change for what? I said, I'm no longer in science. I said, I'm doing economics. He said, all right. The next day, he took me to Professor Kosonike Thomas. For him, in his influence of students, to convince me to go back to science. And when he failed, he asked me, are you mad? Are you leaving science to economics? I said, yes, sir. And since then, we have had a relationship. I have had a relationship with Professor Kosonike Thomas, a very wise professor. And he had an influence in me in the way he analyzes issues, or he analyzed issues. And up until now, I can recall I was not in it, I never changed. I never went back to science or engineering. But we maintained a good professor-student relationship, even though I was in the other faculty. And those things, those times when I met him, was like a father talking to me. And we lived that throughout my university years with deep respect for him. And he also took me like, this is a son outside of in the university. My second encounter with him was after I became professional. I was in service, and I decided to set up an institution, a bank. And who else could I go to for consultation was Professor Kosonike. And he just told me, say, Sava, Professor no get money. Say, but whatever you do, I'll be with you. And he gave me advice as if he was a professor of banking. That's the wisdom he had. And he impacted me greatly. So to see a man like that, seeing him through, I can only say our relationship, went on well. And he gave me good advice on how to handle people's money, as if he was a professor of banking. So you see, when we meet people, particularly if you're in the learning process, either academically or professionally, they leave an impact on you. And I can say that up until his death, whatever the opportunity arises, I would go to him and we discuss, and he would have something for me to take away with. I want to assure you all, family particularly, that he's a man we will all miss. We miss him for his wisdom. We miss him for his approachable life. Even though some people say, the professor is, no, he is always willing to talk to you. And I want to express on behalf of myself and my family the deep condolences to the family, and to assure you that, yes, he's gone, but he has left a mark on people's lives, whether you were an engineer, whether you were an economist like myself, but he played a role in our respective lives, and may his soul rest in peace, and may the family be consoled. Thank you.
Mr. Chancellor, sir, Vice Chancellor and Principal, colleagues from Frabe College and other institutions, the University of Sierra Leone, family member, my role here today is to read a tribute on behalf of the University of Sierra Leone prepared by Professor Redwood Sawyer, who is out of the country on an engineering-related assignment. But before I do that, let me personally welcome the family to Frabe College as the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Frabe College. Professor Kosonike started his academic career here on this campus. And one regret I have, not having been in one of his classes, or not be fortunate to work with him. But one encounter I can still remember was in 2017 when I was elected and eventually appointed Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture. He requested a meeting with me through Professor Redwood Sawyer. We met in my office here on campus, and he wanted me to launch one of his books. We agreed on dates, everything, and we started talking about the faculty, eventually about me. In the end, he asked me, Kele, are you okay? I said, Prof, not really. So I left a job in Canada that was paying me $5,000 a month. And I came here, I told him the salary I was receiving. I cannot mention that here. My bosses are here, I cannot mention. So he told me, Kele, you know what? I know you want to go back. I said, no, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it. He said, no, diversify your sources of income. I said, what do you mean? Registrar told me your area is energy and environmental engineering, right? Yeah. And we have very few energy experts. I have a company, TechSalt. We bring energy experts from Ghana. Why not start your own consultancy? Which I eventually did. Now I have I'm Kele, so my consultancy is Kelco, Solar and Electronics. And I have a chain of businesses, Prof. Thanks, Prof, for that advice. I have a chain of businesses. I cannot mention all here because I don't know, but let me go to why I'm here. let me go to the speech, to the tribute written by Professor Redu Sawyer. I start. Another of our national and international heroes is added to the list of the fallen and of those who have transitioned into the greater beyond. Another great engineer and builder of engineers has ended the role prescribed by the great architect and master playwright, bowed out of the stage of life and the curtains drawn. His script has been longer than many of his peers, and at 91, his role was not a minor one, but that of a major character. Emeritus Professor Kosonike Kosotomos, seen by engineers as the father of engineering at the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture, was a giant in many respects, both within and outside the engineering family, and the impact of his death has been seismic, with the ripples of the aftershocks still being felt. Delivering a tribute for a mentor such as Professor Kosonike Kosotomos is challenging and emotional. And although my assignment is to do one on behalf of the university, his influence on my career path and his contribution to the academic life of the Faculty of Engineering are mutually inclusive and inseparable, considering my over 45 years of service to the University of Sierra Leone. Professor spotted me after graduating in 1975, and through his then secretary, Mrs. Carter, who predeceased him, inquired whether I was interested in becoming a lecturer. She advised that I applied in the faculty. That was then the start of my career path in the university, as the rest is history. That's Redu Sawyer talking. Professor Kosotomos served the university as a lecturer for many years and served in many academic and administrative positions, including Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, and rising to the position of full professor, and later as Vice Chancellor from 1984 to 1993. If I can slightly go out of this script, he hired me in 1988, as a young lecturer, University of Sierra Leone. So I also owe that to him. I joined the University of Sierra Leone in 1988 during his time as Vice Chancellor and Principal. He also served as Chairman of the Tertiary Education Commission and was a Fellow of the Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers. During his deanship, he raised the profile of the then department, which was operating under the Faculty of Pure and Applied Sciences, which later became a faculty to a very high academic standard with international recognition. He demonstrated the academic and practical nature of engineering by developing consultancies in the faculty through the establishment of advisory services for technology and development, ASTRAD, as a consultancy unit, and also welfare support facility for staff in the faculty. And this consultancy, ASTRAD, is still existing in the faculty. Prof was a multi-talented academic and excellent in arts, having several varieties of paintings and non-engineering books on his credits. Some of his non-engineering books available at Amazon.com include Sierra Leone Higher Education at the Crossroads of Change, Peacekeeper Lover, another of his books, The Strange Fulfillment, book number 5, A Future Imperfect, number 6, Swimming Against the Tide Without Fear or Favor. Finally, The Winding Road. And I understand there is a book I launched titled The Creation of a Medical College.